He said something along the lines of, it makes me look bad. Like, how does it make you look bad? It's all in how you handle it. So if you look bad, it's because you got all steamy and didn't know what the fuck to do.
Right.
And made yourself look like an idiot in front of your clients.
You didn't know how to handle yourself. Welcome to episode 330 of the Real Estate Podcast. We're talking about behind the scenes stuff that realtors see that you might not, and Adrian's fixation on goldfish crackers and cheese. Let's go.
Welcome to the Real Estate Podcast, your go-to source for raw, unfiltered stories and expert tips. Whether you're a buyer, seller, tenant, landlord, or realtor, join us as we dive into the world of real estate.
So
you were just telling me about your goldfish and crackers. Your goldfish and cheese or whatever.
Because goldfish are crackers. But yes, goldfish, crackers, and cheese. That's my guilty pleasure, and I don't know how to break the habit.
Just stop eating goldfish and cheese.
Yeah, it's not that easy. Well, I mean, I've asked Alicia not to buy them. That hasn't worked yet.
It's called willpower.
Yeah, okay, sure.
So what else did you have?
A homemade soup.
So you had soup, crackers, and cheese. What's wrong with that?
Well, nothing. But
what kind of soup was it?
Homemade. It was a chicken broth base with tomatoes and vegetables and noodles and chicken.
So good. A chicken vegetable.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a nice little.
Do you know
lunch.
what I learned the other day?
What's wrong with that as a lunch? Why are you so full?
Because I ate too much cheese and goldfish.
How much is too much?
I don't know. That's the problem. I don't measure it. I just keep sticking my hand in the bowl.
I thought you weren't eating cheese.
No,
you're back. You're back to eating cheese too.
A long time ago. I try not to eat it too much.
Right.
But now I'm eating it too much.
Oh, okay.
But you know what I learned the other day? Alicia was taking Tessa to snowboarding lessons, and I was supposed to go, but I had an offer I was working on, so she went, and I was at home, finished up the offer, and then McKenna and I decided, well, let's surprise them with a nice dinner when they get home. So we decided to make chicken Alfredo, so grilled chicken with an Alfredo fettuccine. And I didn't know that traditionally authentic Alfredo sauce has
no cream.
No cream. So I made it the authentic way, and it was so much better,
butter
and easier.
And Parmesan.
Yeah, and just use the noodle water.
Did you let the butter melt off pan, like you cooked the pasta and then throw it into just a bowl with the butter?
I had the butter in I had a large. I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a saucepan, but it's low, but wide. Sauté pan, yeah. And so I threw a bunch of butter in there, melted it down. I added some minced garlic.
Oh, you see, the key, and you get the thickness that way, is to let the butter melt using the steam and heat from the noodles.
No, that's what I do.
And the starch.
Yeah, that's what I did. So then I threw the noodles right from the water into the melted butter, and I cook it off, and then I slowly, kind of like risotto,
but you melted the butter.
Yeah.
I'm saying the butter should melt from the noodle steam, not in the pan.
Oh, I would argue it doesn't make a difference.
Oh, it makes a difference. Why don't you try it my way and then let me know?
Okay. Anyways, it was good. And it's funny because there's not many. And if you Google Alfredo, everyone's heavy cream and milk.
The North American, quote unquote, Alfredo is like butter, garlic, cream, and Parmesan.
Yeah. But enough about food. Let's talk real estate. So I got a call the other day on one of our properties. They're actually doing a home inspection as we talk. And this guy, he was interesting. The way he started to negotiate on the price was, he starts by asking the traditional, what are your client's expectations? What number do you have in mind? And I obviously I handle it as I do. So then he goes into explaining his position on price. And he said, well, I looked at, and this is a 3-story village home. You know roughly where it is. And there's plenty
Now
of...
you better hope that deal firms up now.
Yeah. And he's like, well, I looked at a couple of comparable sales, one from August and one from May. I'm like, hang on, you're talking about 6 months to a year ago? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, buddy, like there's plenty of recent comparable sales. You're wasting my time if you're looking at sales from 2024. And then he's like, he gets all up in arms and gets all mad at me. And it was just
He got mad at you.
He got mad at me for saying he's wasting my time. And he was very sensitive. Anyways, yeah, that was really the point of it. I'm just like, I didn't understand his approach. He's like, I've been in this business for 20 years. And I'm like, whatever.
There's nothing I hate more than when agents pull out that card, like how long they've been in the business.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean anything. I know a lot of people have been in the business for a long time that still struggle.
Sure.
Right? They manage to get by, but they don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like he may very well be one of those.
Yeah. And chances are that, he's not at the same performance level as you.
Maybe. I don't know. But he didn't handle himself well, I would say. And he got very sensitive and upset. But we ended up, he came back a few days later because we wouldn't give in on the price. Came back a few days later, put a deal together at the price we were holding firm at. And they're doing the home inspection now. I'm sure it'll go through nicely because the place is...
Okay, you want to make a bet?
Yeah.
How much do you want to bet? Or what do you want to bet? That this guy's going to come back. I don't think maybe a reduction in price if he's smart, but is going to ask you to ask your seller to fix a bunch of like nonsense stuff. Like a receptacle plate cover is broken and we want it replaced prior to closing.
I think,
and a few other things.
He may. I mean, he's representing a family member, so I think he's really trying to do good by them, and I get it. I would probably feel similar. No, I wouldn't. I would have just set realistic expectations from the start and say, "Dude, this is a great price."
Family the same way. If
this is a great price. Go buy it.
A little bit more preemptive than you do with clients because you have that relationship.
100%.
That's why a lot of family members don't do business in real estate with their own family members. You should know that very well.
We don't have to bring this up again. It's salt in the wound. I was just on the phone. I just had a nice conversation with my mom, actually.
Yeah.
We're on great terms and always have been.
Did they end up selling their house?
No.
No.
No, they didn't. They pulled it.
Didn't hire the right realtor.
No.
Wrong realtor.
That's right. Yeah, there was another one I was going to talk about. Oh, I'm wondering what your thoughts are on this.
Okay.
So this has come up twice recently.
Mm-hmm.
So for the audience...
Is this something we've talked about?
No.
No. Okay.
For those watching or listening, up until 2020, was that when COVID started?
Yep. Yeah. 5 years.
Until 2020.
5 freaking years ago, man.
I know. You were saying that earlier. But up until COVID... the way we handled showings was that people could just book showings at any time. You could overlap showings. It didn't matter. And you would always kind of go into it not knowing if you were going to overlap somebody.
I think I know where you're going with this. We had some feedback come.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So that was the norm. And that's what I'm accustomed to. And I'm okay with it. I can handle it. If there's someone at the house, we deal with it. And we set the right expectations with our clients. But recently, during COVID, that changed. Showings were no longer allowed to overlap, and you could only have one group of people through the house at once, and people were very strict about it for obvious reasons. And
showings were cut down from an hour, which was standard, to half an hour.
Correct.
To limit exposure in the property. Yeah,
well, that and also making
Opening
it more feasible to get people, more
Yeah.
people through the house, which became very hard at times to
if you had a hot
showings.
property, technically, if your property is showing from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., let's say, you can only have 22 showings back to back to back to back.
Right. Which, again, all of a sudden...
And good luck getting, like, if you're the agent and you need to show it between 6 and 8.
Right, the prime times are gone.
Yeah.
Book 4 days from now. And that's why I still think the other scenario works better. But anyways, once COVID cooled off and became a thing of the past, we went back to normal processes where we can overlap now. And when people are booking, it doesn't show time slots that are already booked.
We only went back to that maybe
not long ago, 2 years, maybe 1
year and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've gotten some recent complaints, 2 complaints to be exact, from agents who booked showings at our properties and they were overlapping with another showing. And I can't remember what the first guy said, but he conveyed that he was disappointed that there was another group of people there. Mm-hmm. And, I was respectful and my response, whatever it was. And then I got another one just yesterday from another guy. Looks like a younger guy. So maybe this is the norm for him. I don't know. But he was professional, but he was clearly very upset. And so he sent feedback in the request for feedback thing that we have. And he said that they were upset and he was upset to find out there was another showing. And then I wrote back and said, hey, I'm really sorry that you were expecting to be there on your own. If you'd like, I can schedule a private showing for you guys again and make sure that time slot's booked exclusively for you. And then he wrote back and he was just venting even more. I'm just like, and I wrote like 4 emails and I'm like, nope, I'm not going to write anything. I said, thanks for the suggestion. The one thing he said, which I agree with, is if there are overlapping showings, we can let them know.
They know when you book it.
No, they don't.
Yes.
How?
Okay, why don't you hop on now?
Yeah.
And try and book a showing somewhere.
Well, I'm not going to know if there's another showing.
One of ours.
Oh, one of ours. Okay, maybe we can get Robbie to ask Jen to do that.
Yeah, because first of all, 2 things. Well, you could put it in the showing instructions just so it's clear to dummies. Because even like we were talking about earlier today, in our lease listings, as an example.
Okay.
Me, you, and one of the other realtors on our team are going to be on those lease listings.
Yeah.
And if it's somebody else on the team that's taking care of offers, we put in the broker remarks, please contact Steve Bruman at X and X number for any questions or offers.
Right. Well, I had 3 calls today on one
and
of Steve's.
They end up calling us anyways.
And then,
so even if the information is there, nobody's going to read it.
Well, and to even...
But hang on. So I understand their point.
Yeah.
Because maybe you want that private time in the house or whatever. But why not call the agent and say, hey, I just want to make sure. Like, if it's really that important to you, then why not call and verify? And you don't have to be a genius to figure out that there's no, because when you allow double bookings in the showing system, there's no other appointments booked. You can book any time slot you want.
Right.
Well, 2 and 2, right? Like, but from a seller's perspective, let's just talk about that for a second, because I think that's, as the listing agents, that's the important component to this. We want to drive multiple traffic at the same time because it creates a bit of urgency, creates a bit of excitement, and it shows these people, hey, there are other people interested. So if you want this house, there's activity here. Mm-hmm. And from the buyer's agent perspective, maybe that's a good thing too, to say, hey, especially in this current market, maybe it moves your buyers along and encourages them and gives them that little extra nudge.
Yeah.
And really, how much time is somebody spending in the house? They're not spending the hour. We're allowing 1-hour visits. So if you see somebody else is there, sit in your car and wait for maybe 10, 15 minutes. Let them know. Yeah. Let the other people know, hey, we're booked in the same time slot. We'd like to come in, but we want to give you some privacy. We want to have some privacy. How long are you guys going to be?
Yeah. Well, that was
whatever.
In one of the emails I didn't send was conveying to him that, while I understand that it wasn't what they were expecting, and he said something along the lines of, it makes me look bad. Like, how does it make you look bad? It's all in how you handle it. So if you look bad, it's because you got all steamy and didn't know what the fuck to do.
Right.
And made yourself look like an idiot in front of your clients.
Didn't know how to handle yourself.
Instead of saying, hey guys, like, this is obviously a really busy property. Let me go and talk to the agent, see if we can arrange a time where they'll do the outside while we do the inside, or they're upstairs, we're downstairs, then you can have your privacy.
Yeah.
So I think that also shows how they handle themselves in such a basic scenario situation. Like, how on earth are they going to handle negotiating?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of scary.
Yep.
But I don't know. That's all. I was just bothered by that. But I think it's important when you see things like this, and two times in a week. It was about a week. Obviously, there's room for improving the process somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I get both sides of the equation. I way prefer, as a showing agent, if there are overlapping showings, because it allows me to book any time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're showing 3 or 4 different properties, it's much more difficult to coordinate it where you're not just waiting around or have to rejig the whole schedule. It's much more convenient to just be able to say, okay, at 6 o'clock we're going to be here. At 6:30 or 6:45 we're going to be there, and continue. And if you cross paths with anybody, and if you're doing that, I always say to my clients, right, I have kind of a word track, and I think everybody on our team more or less uses the same thing. When you're starting your tour for the day, always reminding our clients that couple things. No shoes in the house. Do you want some booties? We've got some disposable booties if you want to put those on. We are going to probably be recorded either by camera or by audio. Something is recording us. So if we want to have a conversation about price, strategy, motivation, let's do that when we step away from the house or as we're in transition to the next home. And it's okay to say feedback in the house. I don't mind that so much. Like, ooh, I like this feature wall, or ooh, that color is a little bit, that's fine. That might actually give the seller something of valuable feedback.
Yeah, like actual feedback. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good topic. I'm going to go right into this topic while it's fresh. Good segue.
Okay.
So we've got a few homes on the market right now, and one of the sellers was getting frustrated because we weren't really getting any feedback from the other agents.
Mm-hmm. Which is common.
Very common. And that's my comment to them, is that in this market, first of all, the realtor may not want to disclose yet what the true feedback is, right? Especially if it's positive. Maybe we want to be able to negotiate. And if we're saying, oh yeah, my clients love the home, like back in early 22, we would get calls from agents saying, oh my God, they have to have this home. Don't sell it to anybody else.
Make sure you call me if there's an offer.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not negotiating the price downwards once you start saying that. If the home doesn't show well, or it stinks of garbage or something, from a politeness standpoint, you might not actually give that feedback, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you do out of courtesy. Hey, they may want to take the garbage out because it smells like dog shit.
I usually do provide feedback, and I'm usually pretty open but polite, because I think from my perspective, I would appreciate it, being able to have something to tell my clients, like, hey, I told you this, and listen, these guys are saying the same thing.
Yeah. But you also don't know the real reason that showing might even be there. Maybe it's a competitive seller, like somebody else that has a similar home that's on the market or coming on the market. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get feedback from them. And if you do, is it real feedback?
Right.
So, I always temper expectations when it comes to getting feedback from sellers or from buyers, because the buyer's agents a lot of them are not taking that step. Mm-hmm. They don't care. They don't think that they need to. They forgot what home it is. They forgot what their clients liked about that home. Or if they provide feedback, it's nothing that's really of any use. Mm-hmm. The best feedback comes from, in our case, it comes from us and our teammates, right?
And the cameras.
That's
handy.
Yeah.
And
when Adrian says cameras, we install a security camera on the front porch that the homeowner has access to make sure that whoever's entering should be entering the house, and that they're going in at the right time, leaving at the right time, etc.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell they're packing or unpacking out there.
Yeah, I think feedback, rarely do I get anything of value. I mean, rarely do I get feedback, period. And when I do, it's not usually very valuable. But I think, like you're saying, is whatever we tell our clients is usually if we hear anything from other clients or their showings, we've already conveyed it.
Oftentimes, for us, the issue is nothing that we can change.
Right.
It could be the floor plan, the room sizes, the location, timing on the market, what's happening in the world or in the...
Well, and there's people out looking for all different reasons. Like I had showings recently where there were several showings scheduled, but we had an offer and that was being reviewed. And as I always do, I contacted everyone that had been through and everyone that had an appointment booked that hadn't happened yet. And a few of those that hadn't gone through yet, they were like, oh yeah, well, we're just out doing our preliminary searches right now. And we're not buying until we've sold, but we don't list until next week.
Right.
So it's like there's tons of not everybody walking through your house is ready to buy.
Yeah, and now with the inventory levels higher. So as an example, with let's say you're in the market for a 2-story townhome. There's probably 50 of them in the market in our town.
Yeah.
There's less urgency unless the house is not super nice or priced super well, or you love that location and nothing's come for sale in that location. Mm-hmm. But even if all of those things check the boxes, you're not just going to see that one home and buying it. You're going to see 4, 5, 10 others, whatever.
Yeah.
So it delays that. It's kind of that visceral response, right? Like you might not have any true feedback at that point. Yeah, it's nice, but I got to see some other stuff.
Yeah, nothing helpful anyways.
Right. It's like when I go shopping for shoes. I don't know if you're the same way. Why are you laughing?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, how many pairs of sneakers, if you go and buy a pair of sneakers, oh, I like those. Those are nice.
But I don't
buy
them.
I like those too. Those are nice. But you might not even try them on.
Yeah.
You're kind of window shopping. But then maybe you go to a couple of other stores and you go, okay, let me try those on. And you like them and they feel good. You bought those.
Yeah.
Maybe you forgot about the first 2 you saw in the other stores.
Yeah.
You
need a good salesperson to persuade you to put them on.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And that's where hiring the right realtor comes in play.
Yeah.
Anyway, next podcast.
Yeah, next week on the Real Estate Podcast, I'm excited to have James Secondino here from Mint Garage, local business owner, great guy, and should be a good conversation.
Yeah. So see you next week.
See ya.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about this, or if you have any ideas that you want us to chat about in upcoming episodes. And we'll see you next time. Take care.